So today I want to talk about 4 egotistic behaviors and attitudes that some bikers have, but all bikers need to stop. Some of these are actually dangerous, actually cause crashes and deaths. Some of these other points are probably not so dangerous, but just make you look foolish. So welcome to my channel where we talk about bikes and Bible verses. And the first egotistical behavior that bikers need to stop is the childish race you to the playground mentality. When bikers see each other, this superiority complex that, when bikers see each other need to assert their dominance and superiority, and I'm gonna ride faster than you are because I'm better than you, and I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna lane split better than you and faster than you. This mentality, like I said, it starts off in the playground. You're running towards something. There's just that kid who just wants to race you, sees you running and wants to run because he wants to beat you, to assert his dominance. Later on in high school, but then it's different. It looks different now. It's the teen who drinks the most and who can smoke the most to show how hard he is or how bad he is. Later in life, it seems that these types of personalities are gravitated. So there's more of these types of people in motorcycle riding. Like, let's say there's normally 1% of these egotistical behavior everywhere, like in the world, like work, for example, 1%, right? But in the motorcycle world, there's like 20%, because of the danger and maybe just the coolness, being able to show off. So these egotistical people are gravitated towards motorcycling. So riders have more of a reputation of being egotistic. So the biker head is chilling through traffic. He wants to lane split between a Toyota Corolla and a Honda Civic, and he's taking a longer time to decide if he wants a lane split through them than he would if he was deciding which university, between Oxford or Cambridge, that he wants to go to. But then as soon as he sees you, he performs like a lane splitting that puts an end to the debate of the proverbial camel going through the eye of a needle. The biker that you spot up front, whom you're trying to catch to say hi or warn him. In my case, there was a rider whose number plate was falling off, and I started riding up behind him so I can signal him, and it just seems that all the throttle that you're putting in to catch up to this person is going into a void, because the more throttle you're putting in, the gap's not closing, and then you look down and you realize you're like doing go to jail speeds. On a serious note, it just seems like immature behavior, but the reality is that this behavior has caused serious crashes. So ride your own ride doesn't just go for when you're in a group ride. It's also when other bikers see you. If you see someone like this, just let him go past. Like, be the better rider, give way, let them go. Let's demonstrate a humble rider attitude, one biker at a time. The second egotistic behavior that bikers need to stop is the everyone's looking at me service station mentality, or the service petrol station poser, right? I think we've all been there. It's a part of being a beginner rider, or maybe if you're not a beginner, but you're the sort of the public holiday rider, the guy who only rides like 2 or 3 times a year. And like, I get it, right? Bikes are cool. You're at a service station and you think you're cool because bikes are cool. Like, but you don't need to be glaring at everyone while you're on your bike and saying, "Hey, you're looking at me," or just standing there, just hanging around at the fuel pump, flicking peanuts into the air and catching them with your mouth, like you're in some circus show or something. And I wouldn't be talking about this if I haven't seen it. I think this mentality wears off maybe after the first 5 to 10 service station visits. But I recommend that during this phase, that you should just try and keep your composure, despite like how cool you look, because you ride a motorbike. For one reason, no one cares. Like, no one from the non-motorbike enthusiasts cares. People going to the service station are filling up. They're just going about their day. They don't even notice you were there. Like, think of it in this way. Before you were interested in riding, I'm not saying before you were riding, but before you were even interested in riding, how many bikers do you remember seeing at a service station? I don't remember seeing any. I started riding when I was like 35 years old, right? And I don't remember before I was interested in riding seeing any. It's only after that I started being interested in riding that I remember seeing other motorcyclists, because that's like I think it's like some sort of bias that we have in our brains, that and that's why you need to keep your composure, because other people, they don't care, they don't notice you. So if you're still in this phase, it's normal. Keep your composure, put on a poker face, fill up your bike with fuel, and try not to fall in the process, because then people will look at you. The third egotistic behavior is the selfish and senseless overtaker. I don't know if selfish is the right word for this behavior that I'm trying to capture, but what I'm trying to describe is like a combination of self-centeredness and senselessness. Like someone who is totally ignorant of what their presence has on other people in traffic around them. For them, like, riding around is a one-way interaction. It's about where they want to go in regards to other vehicles, who they can get in front of, what tight gaps they can squeeze into to get there. It's not because they don't care about who they startle or as they're sneaking into the cracks and crevices in traffic. It's that they're too ignorant to know the effect that their presence has on other people. Like, they don't consider it, they don't care, like, or they don't know. There was this one video where a guy on a sport bike rides past like a patched bikie, and the patched bikie just goes nuts and starts like swerving into him. So like, it's portraying the idea that patched bikies are just angry maniacs. But in reality, the biker gets mad because he sees the action as being reckless, and the person who did it is, too much of a senseless knob to, he's completely oblivious to the recklessness of what he's committing. And that's why the patch biker gets mad, because of the reckless behavior that this guy is completely oblivious to doing. He doesn't even realize. He's like, oh look, patch bikers are so bad, they're so angry just because I overtook him. No, it's because you were reckless, and you were completely oblivious to the recklessness of the actions that you committed. What you need to understand is that other cars and bikes assume like a buffer, like a personal buffer space where they can decide to move around in without having to need to check. Now, if you sneak into that space, you cause like contention for that personal buffer, and it can cause an accident, and that's why the biker gets mad. But at the same time, a lot of times, I blow past cars at inches away from them, lane splitting and things like that. And by the way, lane splitting is allowed where I ride, and I do just sort of go past them, but I know it's because they don't have any options to move around. They're gridlocked in traffic, or even if traffic is moving, but there's no open gaps and things like that. So, but as soon as I see a biker, I would slow down. I wouldn't blow past them. I could be in traffic. I could go past 100 cars at inches distance away from them. But as soon as I see a biker, I stop. I stop behind him. I don't stop, but I stop progressing past them. I want to make sure that he's seen me. I actually rode and I saw a patched biker, and as soon as I saw him, I didn't continue to go past him. I wanted to make sure that he saw me, and what he did, he just put down his hand and he sort of gave me a signal, like a wave or something. And I ride a sport bike and he's on a Harley, and that breaks the rules. But that's what people don't get. They don't understand. They're too much with their heads in the clouds about what type of bike you ride. They don't understand the basics, safety of riding around. They don't care. Bikies, patch bikers, they don't care about if you're riding a Harley or if you're riding a sport, but they care about, are you riding in a reckless manner? That's what pisses them off. That's what pisses everyone off. I remember when I was doing my motorbike license course, the instructor told us this story of one of the students there who, everyone went out to lunch and one of the students didn't come back. And somehow they found out that he was actually in hospital with a broken leg because a truck ran over the guy as he was, coming back from lunch. And later on, actually, our instructor was, by chance, talking to a police officer, and the police officer mentioned, that one of your students, and he was investigating the crash. And the instructor's like, oh yeah, poor guy, he got run over by a truck. And then what he found out though was that witnesses said that this rider was at a traffic light, lane split past 3 cars, which you're not allowed to do when you're a learner. Anyway, he goes past 3 cars and gets right in front of this truck. Now there was no way, if he was splitting that close, there's no way the truck would have seen him. And this is what a lot of bikers don't get. It's this selfish, senseless, it's a one-way interaction. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to put my bike? It's not about what do other people see, what do other people feel, what can other people do. The fourth egotistic behavior that all bikers need to stop is the track rider superiority card. Right? They pull out the track rider. The great thing about being a track, if you've ridden on the track with a sport bike, it's the universal answer to all questions motorcycle related. Because, any debate about body positioning, just pull out, anything, correct braking technique, counter steering, just pull out that. If the argument's going too long, just pull out the card. I'm a track rider, end of story, right? Marquez and Rossi, they all ride on the track, and I also ride on the track, so I strut among the champions with them, looking down at all these mere mortals who haven't dared to set their tires on the peaks of Mount Olympus. And on a serious note, this is also quite dangerous. Sometimes you get criticisms from people. I had this criticism, someone who was a track rider, he doesn't ride on the street at all, and he was looking at my tires and he was telling me how they were squaring off, and I'm like, dude, I ride 50 kilometers on a highway every day to come to work, and because I ride an R1, he's sort of talking down at me because I don't turn the bike, right? Or people who talk about chicken strips, and it's always actually people who don't ride. It's people who don't ride or very rarely ride that criticize you, and it's dangerous because then if I was insecure, I'd go around and try and take the chicken strips off my tires on the street, which is a very stupid thing to do because the street is very unpredictable. The speeds that you need to be going at to get your chicken strips off are reckless speeds. People think that you got chicken strips because you're too afraid to lean, but you don't actually get to choose your lean angle. you have to set the lean angle for the speed and the radius of the turn. You can't just say, I want to lean more. If you want to lean more, you end up turning more. So if you actually want to take your chicken strips off, you have to be going a lot faster. You have to be going 3 times faster to make that same turn, so you will lean more. And good riders actually minimize the lean because of their body positioning. So it's reckless, dangerous behavior, and it's just egotistic, which we don't need. And a Bible verse that reflects a lot of this is in 2 Timothy chapter 3, in the first few verses, and it talks about like there's going to be times where people will be lovers of themselves. People will love themselves. They'll be, boasters. They'll be proud, blaspheme, disobedient, unthankful, like slanderous, unloving, no self-control, and brutal, and traitors, and haughty, like pride. There is no gain in these behaviors. It's just going to make you feel empty, and it's going to make the other person that you're giving out this pride to just feel bad, and it's because of emptiness. And that's why and in that verse it says people need to be lovers of God, and when they're lovers of God, they become full. I know that a lot of Christians are not perfect, and not everyone follows this, but at least we can look at this verse and try to aim to be like that, to be like humble and just care for other people. Like just that's what this world needs. There's no gain in this empty behavior. People, it's a symptom of emptiness, a symptom to show that you're insecure and you're empty when you do these behaviors. So that's all I want to talk about. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you like my channel in general, if you like my content in general, please hit subscribe. I've got 2 playlists, one for motorcycle based stuff, and another one for more like life based and faith based content. So please check that out, and take it easy and ride safe.